everyone. I hope you're all having a good week so far. We're in week 11 this week, and so our exercise this week is going to be to model the windows and doors. You'll find that assignment under the week 11 module. I've also got linked in this module just the two elevations that we also saw last week in week 10, but I wanted to throw them in here as well in case you might find them helpful again. So hopefully this process will be familiar to you at this point. We've opened or created the openings for windows and doors in past assignments and worked on downloading or importing objects from the 3D warehouse before. So hopefully this is a little bit of review for you, but just kind of with the added challenge of our tiny house and all the layers and visibilities, all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. I've also got the plans and elevations PDF in here for you too, just in case you find those helpful. The elevation PDF you'll definitely need to use. The plans, they're just there in case. So we're going to start out using our same model from last week, from exercise 10. So this is where we stopped last week. We modeled all of the walls, the stairs, the roofs. So you can just go ahead and open your same exercise 10, and you might even want to go ahead and just right now do a file and save as exercise 11. Let me go ahead and navigate to where I want to save this, just in case so you don't overwrite that one on accident. There I am. Alright, so this is where we're going to start out, and let's go ahead and look back at the assignment. Our first step is to create the exterior and interior door openings. So just don't forget your interior doors here. So you'll have the front door, the back door, and I think that there is one door to the bathroom on the inside. Oh, and also to the bedroom. So I think you're going to have 4 doors in total. So you'll probably find it easier to turn off the interior and exterior wall layers so that you can see your CAD plans easier. And then we're going to use guidelines to mark the locations of the doors. Go back to SketchUp here. I'm going to turn off my exterior walls and my interior walls. Maybe even the roofs too, if those are in your way. All right. Even the floors, whatever's in your way, if you've been using your layers correctly, you should be easily able to turn those on and off. But I'm going to go ahead and use my tape measure tool. I'm hitting T on my keyboard for that. And I'm going to go ahead and mark the locations of where my door openings are. So remember, for your guidelines, with the tape measure tool, you can click on a line anywhere except for the endpoint, and that'll get you a guideline started parallel to that line that you clicked on. And you can even bring that line back to that initial line that you clicked on. Just click again to end it there. I'm going to go ahead and get the other side of my door too here. That in place. So we're just finding the width of the doors right now. Make sure we're locating those correctly. And remember, I am still on my untagged tag over here. My pencil is indicating that that one is my active tag. That's where I'm modeling everything right now. Remember, our best practice is to always stay on the untagged layer, group objects, and then move those groups to whatever layer you'd like them to be. We're keeping all of our kind of loose geometry, our individual lines and faces, we're keeping those on the untagged layer. might get a little bit confusing since we've got quite a few grid lines overlapping here. You know, feel free to just do one at a time. You could mark one one door opening, turn all your layers back on and create that opening, turn the layers back off, erase those guidelines, move on to the next door. Just whatever works best for you so that you're not getting confused with all these different guidelines going around. I don't think there were any on the second floor. Nope, doesn't look like it. It's just an open loft. So yep, we've got these 4 doors down here. Front door, bedroom door, back door, and the toilet room door. We're going to turn the wall layers back on and then use those grid lines that we just created to draw rectangles on the walls where the door openings will be. All doors are going to be 7 feet tall. And remember that we need to open the editing box for our wall groups so that we're drawing on the walls themselves rather than outside of the groups. Let's head back to SketchUp, turn on my exterior walls here and go ahead and start my front door. So my grid lines that I'm looking at here are this guy and this guy. That just helps me figure out where those are going to be. I'm going to grab my pencil tool and start at that intersection. Oops, I almost forgot to click into my wall group. Remember that we created our exterior walls all as one group, so I am going to want to double click into that wall group so that I am modeling on the actual surface of the wall rather than accidentally outside of the group. So back to my pencil tool, I hit L on my keyboard for that. We're going to find the intersection of the base of the wall and that grid line that we created. I'm going to draw a line up on the blue axis, 7 foot, enter. And then I'm going to do the same thing on our other grid line, find that intersection, draw that line up 7 feet, come over here to connect them. And you'll see that that didn't create the 2 separate faces for me. This is all still one face. And that's because our wall surface here actually continues down past. If I were to turn off my floor here, you see that it still continues to keep going. So I actually need to draw one more line across here to close that loop. And now you'll see that I've created a separate surface here. I'm going to swivel around to the back door. Got my 2 grid lines created there. Double click back into my exterior wall group. Hitting L on my keyboard for the line tool. Find that intersection between the base of the wall and your grid line. This one's also going to be 7 feet tall. Find the opposite corner here. 7 feet, connect across, and then we are going to have to draw that line down here as well. Just double checking, yep, I've got a surface created there. And now I'm going to turn off my exterior walls and turn on my interior walls so that I can see these areas a little bit clearer. So I've got another door right here between these 2 grid lines. I'm going to double click into my interior walls group. L for the line tool or pencil tool. Find that intersection. Draw a line straight up. Make sure that your inference engine is indeed telling you that it is on the blue axis. 7 feet tall. Find the other one. Again, 7 feet. Connect those 2 lines at the top. And this one actually, we started our interior walls at the actual floor level. So we've already got a line created here, so you shouldn't have to draw another line down there. It should already create that separate surface for you. And then we're going to go to our bathroom door here. I'm going to swivel around this way. It'll be a bit easier for me to see. Grab your line tool. Find those intersections. 7 feet on each side. And connect across. Awesome. Go back to our canvas assignment to see what's next. We'll use the push-pull tool to extrude those rectangles back to create our openings. I'll just go ahead and do the interior doors first, since that's what I've got turned on here. I'm going to double click back into my interior walls group, and I'm hitting P on my keyboard for the push-pull tool, and we're going to extrude these rectangles back. It should tell you once you reach that back face, it's being offset, kind of the limit of it. And you'll click to finish that, and it should all disappear. To the same one over here. If for some reason yours is not telling you that offset limit, you can swivel around and find that back edge. And line yourself up with it, and then click on that, and then it should disappear. Right, I'll get out of those interior walls. I'm going to turn the exterior walls on. And we'll do the same thing for each of these doors, double clicking into my exterior wall group. Use the push-pull tool to extrude this back. Find that back face and click, and that should disappear there. I've got a few extra lines created here. I'm just going to go ahead and erase those. Oh, that didn't work out very well. Oh, you know what? I can't erase those because if I were to turn off my floors, those lines are actually being used for this surface here. If you don't like the look of those lines, let me turn that back on. You could just hide them. Select them, right click, and choose hide. Swivel around to the back. Do the same thing back here. Push-pull tool. Extrude this surface back. And then I'm going to go ahead and hide those lines as well. That should get us finished with step 1. Step 2 then is to create the window openings. So a very similar process here. We're going to turn off interior and exterior wall layers and use guidelines to mark the locations of the windows. Turn the wall layers back on and use guidelines as well as this elevations PDF that's linked here in the assignment to draw rectangles on the walls where the window openings will be. So I'm going to turn off those exterior walls, turn off my interior walls. And let's first just focus on the first floor, so I'm also going to turn off my CAD level 2 so that that's not in the way. I'm also going to go ahead and erase all of my guidelines that I've created so far. So I'm going up to Edit and Delete Guides to get rid of all those so I don't keep confusing myself with more guidelines. Grab my tape measure tool, go ahead and mark the locations of these windows. I think I'll just do these front 2 first. So I'll turn my exterior walls back on and double click into that exterior wall group. Right, and then we'll take a look at that PDF to figure out the height of these windows. So this first one over here on the left is 1 foot above level 1, and then that window is 2 feet tall. And this window over here on the right is also 1 foot above level 1 for the sill height. And then it is 6 feet tall, so it's going to hit at 7 foot right in line with the top of our door. So I'm going to create some more guidelines for myself here. I'll use this line at the base of the wall and bring that up 1 foot to find my sill height. And then I'll create another guideline, this one is 2 feet above that one. And then I'm going to use the rectangle tool to create this rectangle here. We'll use inference matching to find this intersection here of my guideline and start to bring that upward until you meet the sill height, that guideline there. Click the start. And then once I find that axis that I want to draw my rectangle on, I'm going to press and hold the shift key to keep it locked on that axis. It's turning pink, that's telling us, that's SketchUp's color for telling us that something is parallel. So the rectangle that we're drawing is parallel to the face of the wall. That's why also this wall here is lighting up with that pink kind of magenta color. So then we're also going to use inference matching to find the width of our window here. So I'm going to go find that intersection for the width of the window and start to pull that upward until I find the top of my window. And then with that rectangle created, I'm going to use the push-pull tool, hitting P on my keyboard. To extrude that rectangle back until we find the back face and create that opening. And for this window over here, go back to my rectangle tool and again use that inference matching, starting this corner here, finding the sill height, press and hold shift once you're on that axis that you want. Find the width of your window, start to pull that upward, and this one we're going to match with the top of the door height here. So I'm going to come over and find my door. So we're inference matching twice with this, and SketchUp should remember that first inference matching that we tried, and so once you reach that corner, it'll snap to each the width and the height, and you can click finish. And use the push-pull tool to extrude that surface back to create your opening. Right, I'm going to go ahead and delete those guides so I don't confuse myself as I move to the back here. Let's locate these back windows. So I'll turn the exterior walls off again. Grab my tape measure tool, I just hit T on my keyboard. And find the width of those windows. So there are 4 windows in total on the first floor. Go ahead and turn my walls back on. Double click into that wall group. And let's take a look at the PDF here. So this window next to the back door, again 1 foot off level 1 and 6 foot tall to meet the same height as the window, or I'm sorry, the door. And this one is also the same, 1 foot off of level 1, 6 foot tall. Create some guidelines for myself. 1 foot above level 1 and 6 foot above that, so 7 foot total. Go ahead and get that one started over here as well, 1 foot. And then we'll use inference matching with that top door again, just so that we can get some more practice with that. Grab my rectangle tool by hitting R on my keyboard. Find this guideline here, start to hover and pull upward to find 1 foot. Start your rectangle. Press and hold shift to lock that in place. And I'm gonna find the width of my window here. Pull directly up until I find that top guideline. And use push-pull to extrude that back. Same thing over here, get my rectangle tool. Find my starting point here. Press and hold shift. And you'll see if you press and hold shift, when you were already on that kind of rectangle, see that diagonal line that's forming, that's telling me that I'm on a perfect square. So if I'm not on a square, then that diagonal line goes away. But if you press and hold shift while that diagonal line is there, then it's going to keep those proportions in place when you hold shift to get that pink parallel so that you can still manipulate the size of the rectangle. Just make sure that that diagonal is not across there. So now when I press and hold shift, I'm still able to kind of manipulate the size of the rectangle here. Okay, let's find the width of our window. Start to pull that upward. And then we'll find the top of our door over here. Start to pull that point over, and then SketchUp will snap once it finds that intersection between our two inference matching points. Click to finish. P for push-pull. Extrude that back. Create the opening. I'm going to go ahead and delete those guides again. And go ahead and work on the second floor. So I'll turn my CAD level 2 on. Turn my exterior walls off. And you want to use my tape measure tool to locate this window across the front here. And we've also got a window on the back side here. So 2 windows on the second floor. Okay, I'll turn my exterior walls back on. Let's take a look at our PDF. We'll go ahead and start with the back face. So this one starts, draw a line here, easily tell. This one starts 1 foot above level 2. And it is 6 feet tall, just like what we've been dealing with. Oops. Go back to the back face here. Alright, so level 2, right where that CAD plan is. Go ahead and create some guidelines for 1 foot above level 2 for our sill height, and then 6 feet, 6 feet above that for the head height. Double click into your exterior wall group, hit R for the rectangle tool, go ahead and inference match to find your lower left corner or lower right, whichever one you're starting with. Press and hold down shift to keep ourselves locked on the wall there. Find your width and start to pull up until you find that head height. P for push pull, extrude that back to create that opening. Warp it around to the front here, and let's take a look at that PDF. This one's going to start 3 feet above level 2, and it'll be 2 feet tall. So I'll go ahead and create myself a guideline, starting 3 feet above level 2, and another one 2 feet above that. rectangle tool, use inference matching, go ahead and find the width. It's not liking that one for me. There we go. And once again, push pull that back. I'm gonna go ahead and delete those guidelines. All right, I think that should finish up step 2. Let's go ahead and look at the Canvas assignment. From here, we're either going to model your own or import from the 3D Warehouse door and window components to fill those openings that we just created. If you're going to import from the 3D Warehouse, make sure that you're scaling your components to fit those openings correctly. I'm going to go ahead and, just for review's sake, I'll go ahead and do a window that I'm modeling on my own, and then I'll go ahead and do a door that I'm importing from the 3D Warehouse, just so that we have a refresher on how we would do both of those. So I'm going to go ahead and, let's see here, which would be a good window. I think this is going to be a good window for me to demo for you all, because I think that we're also going to be able to use our linear array tool to make sure that our mullions are evenly spaced here, so we'll get a good review of that linear array tool. So I don't want to be inside my exterior walls group for this one. I'm going to be modeling my windows kind of in the main model space, because I don't want them to be a part of my exterior wall group. So to get started, I'm just going to draw a rectangle across this entire space. And, you can model your windows however you'd like. I'm going to create window mullions that are 2 inches wide by 4 inches deep. That's a pretty typical window mullion size. So I'll start out by creating the top and bottom. There are a few ways that you can do this, but since I want to show you all the linear array tool, I think it might be easier if I do the top and bottom first, and then we can create the middle ones all together. So I want 2 inches wide, so I'm going to grab that top line here. I'm hitting M for the move tool and clicking Control for copy. I'll just copy that line down 2 inches. Same thing down here. I'll copy this line up 2 inches. And then I'm just going to get rid of this middle face. And I'll use the push-pull tool to extrude this back 4 inches. Same with this top one, extruding it back 4 inches. And then if I swivel around here, you can see that my mullions are flat with the front face right now and 2 inches away from the back face of my wall. So I think what I want to do is just center those. So I'm going to triple click here to grab everything. I'm going to use the move tool to just move these back 1 inch. And that should get us even on each side. I'm actually going to create some nested groups here just to make things easier on myself. I don't want any mullions getting stuck to each other. So I'm going to go ahead and probably delete this line first, because if I triple click here, it's still connected to this line, and then it's connecting everything. So I'm just going to delete this line. Same thing on the other side here. And now whenever I triple click this bottom one, it's only grabbing the bottom for me. It's not coming back to that top one. So I'm just going to group this one. Same thing with the top one. And now I'll go ahead and create one of my side mullions. So I will go ahead and create a rectangle connecting those mullions, and then I'll push-pull this outward 2 inches, and then I'm going to triple click and make this one a group as well. Alright, now here's where I can use the linear array tool to equally space our mullions across. So we know the starting point and we know the ending point. So, and we want, if I look back at this elevation, we're going to create 5 total window mullions, but we're creating 4 copies. So remember to do our linear array here. If we know the starting point and the ending point, we're going to use the forward slash, the slash that shares with the question mark key. That's the one that you use if you know the starting point, the ending point. You would use the X key if you knew the distance between your first and second objects, and then you can create however many copies after that. So I've got my mullion selected here, M for move, Control for copy. We want to specify that end point, so I'm going to grab this corner here and copy it over to the other side here. Make sure you find that endpoint, and then immediately type that backslash and the total number of copies, which is going to be 4. Enter, and I've created those 4 mullions, so 5 total. First one, and then 4 additional copies. Right, and then I want to go ahead and create some glass. So I'll grab my rectangle tool, and I'm just going to find the midpoint of my mullion here, orbit around to this top corner, and find that midpoint. I'll go ahead and make my glass. And then I want to grab everything here, so I'll pull a selection window across all of this. I don't think that would have grabbed anything else. Then I'll right click and make a group. And then I'm going to move this entire group from untagged to Windows. I think Windows should already be created for you. And then I'm also just going to go ahead and double click back into this window group, and I'm going to paint my glass a translucent material just like we did back in our exercise with the bookcase. So I can hit B to bring up the paint bucket tool, and then I'll bring your materials list over here. Navigate to glass and mirrors if you're not there already. Mine is already here. And I think I'll just grab this translucent glass gray and paint that surface. Now remember in our bookcase exercise, when we painted the surface, we still couldn't see through. That was because we had actually created a block for our glass, so there was a front face and a back face. So then we went around to the back face and we hid that. For this glass, I only created one surface, so there's no need to go and hide a back face. So just know if you did create your glass as more of a block, you will probably need to go ahead and hide that back face, but mine was just a single surface, so I should be good to go there. Alright, so that's one option for how you might model a window if you are choosing to model your window rather than import from the 3D warehouse. I'm not going to go through and model all of these, but let's go ahead and move on to a door just so that we can remind ourselves how to import from the 3D warehouse. So you should be able to go to Window and 3D Warehouse, and this is actually my work computer, and the 3D Warehouse has not been working within SketchUp. Hopefully yours is, but this is just an opportunity. I can show you how to still access the 3D Warehouse, even if something's being funny in here in SketchUp. You can still access it from the internet. So if you go to sketchup.com, here's the main page. You can go to, I believe it's products, yes, and there should be 3D Warehouse here. And I'm gonna hit explore. And this is basically the same window that we can see within SketchUp whenever we hit Window 3D Warehouse. This should be very similar to what you see. So we're searching for content. I'm just gonna type in a door. And we've got plenty of options here. Definitely find the one that you like the most. Looks like they've got some nice options here. You could even choose to do different doors for each of your door needs, like maybe the front door is something nice and glassy. Maybe the interior doors have some of this paneling going on. Whatever you'd like, feel free to design this space. I'm gonna go ahead and choose this one. I kind of like this one. So I can just download it. And so whenever you're within SketchUp, when you hit this download button, it'll ask you if you want to import it directly into your model, and you'd say yes, and there it would be. But since I'm on the internet, I just need to download the SketchUp file. Now I'll go back to SketchUp, and you can either go through the file import process and you can import that component, but what you can also do is go to your downloads here, and you should just be able to drag and drop it into your SketchUp model. There we go. Right, and then I'm gonna move that into place. And that is way too large. So I'll use the scale tool. This guy right here. I think that was S on your keyboard, yep. All right, and so remember, if you choose these corner grips, and SketchUp's even telling you there, if I'm hovering over that, that's gonna be a uniform scale about the opposite corner, so everything's gonna scale uniformly. But if I choose more of just these middle grips, you can see that it's red and green scale about the opposite corner, and you can even see that diagonal line that's telling you which grip is going to be that opposite grip. And I want to find this middle one so that everything scales inward together all the same, so you can see that I'm only scaling in this one direction rather than a uniform scale of the entire door. So I'm pulling that, and then I'm going to hover to find the width that I want here, and once I find that edge, click to finish. And then same thing for the height. It looks like we're almost at the height that we want, not quite. Go ahead and grab that grip here and pull up and find the edge of my door height. And then now that you've got this in your model, this is completely your own to use however you'd like. If you don't quite like the materials that are in here, going in there, and you could paint it however you'd like. I'm not going to actually paint mine glass, but you can see you can do whatever you'd like to it now. Have it a different wood, make it more of like a metal look. Whatever you'd like to do, this component is now yours to do whatever you'd like with. Let's go ahead and look back at my tags. See if any layers came in. Oh, that's surprising. There were no tags that came in with this door, but just do be aware that when you pull objects in from the 3D warehouse, any tags that are part of this component are going to come into your SketchUp model. So if you wanted to, you could go in and change everything to an untagged layer and then move the entire component to your doors tag or your window tag, whichever one you're working with here. And then if you did have some extra tags that came in here after you've kind of cleaned up your model and no longer using those tags, you can hit your little details button here and purge any of the tags that you're not using. So that'll clean up any of the tags that came in with the component that you're not necessarily using. Just help you clean up your model, keep it organized, and eventually once you keep bringing more and more components in, you might start to accumulate more and more tags, and that will slow your model down eventually once we get a lot more components in here. So just try and keep your tags all cleaned up, nice and organized. It is really just going to help you in the long run. All right, I hope that y'all don't have trouble this week. I will be back Saturday, so I might not be able to talk, answer anything between, Wednesday and Saturday if you do have questions, but I will definitely be looking at Canvas and at my email whenever I get back to see if y'all need anything. I hope you have a good week, and I'll see you when I get back.